Hello, 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 everybody. It's Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. And we have a lot of interesting information to discuss today about Bishop Whitehead. If you read the title, as you can see, I am not at home because I still don't have any lights or power or internet or anything like that. So I'm in the dark hotel room. So that's why it looks this way. Let me speak to everyone as they are coming in. Hey, CBBJ. Hey, Miss King. Hey, Val. Hey, Letitia. Hello, Patricia. Myron, good to see you. Jeff, good to see you. Nicholas, good to see you. Lindsay, good to see you. Hey, Jane, that's my girl. Hey, Angela, you guys come on in. Hey, Shelly. You said that fool is live now talking to some rapper from New Orleans. Well, we're going to talk about him. We have a lot to talk about him today. When I said he is the gift that keeps on giving, some of his stuff is unbelievable. Hey, let's talk about it, boo. We're going to talk about it today. Hey, Rosalind. Good to see you. You said you're excited. Oh, it's a lot to be excited about. So you said he needs to go away. Well, I don't know about that. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I just hope everyone gets the notifications. It usually just takes a while for people to trickle on in. Trickle on in here. So, how is everyone's day going thus far? Everybody good over here? We have to do a mental health check. Everybody good? We see in Mississippi they don't have water. I'm sure they're stressed. Half of us in Michigan don't have electricity. So we're stressed. So we just want to make sure you guys are okay. Hey, Just Coco, good evening. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you for joining us. You said, I really had a great conversation with a young man that has brought a lawsuit against Bishop Whitehead. And I've been able to somewhat understand how what the MO is almost like I was kind of like seeing it when he was talking about it. I was like, okay, I kind of see, because at first I was like, how do all these people get caught up like this? And it seems like it's obvious that he may not always be on the up and up. But yeah, this lawsuit that was just filed, it was actually filed in July. Let me give a quick backstory. Back in July, there was a around when he did the press conference towards the end of July, someone sent me a screenshot of someone who, I guess it was on TikTok, had filed something against Bishop Whitehead. When I looked online, I didn't see that it was filed. I know now why I couldn't see while it was filed after talking to the young man that filed it, but um I couldn't see anything. So, people were saying like talk about this, but I literally had absolutely no information. So then I had someone that sent me an article that just came out. I'm surprised nobody really talked about it, but it was an article where this young man talked about it. And I know for certain that he has now filed his lawsuit on what he is claiming. Yeah, you had to give me a few minutes. I was like, yeah, I had to figure it out. Please, everyone, like, share, and subscribe. Deb, you supposed to be working. How you on here? Hey, Dolores. Hey, hey, hey. So right now, I'm gonna share the article that I saw that was sent to me that first made me start doing a lot of the digging and the information that we have now regarding this specific case against Bishop Whitehead. So this is the person who has now filed a lawsuit against Bishop Whitehead, and he's saying that he was one of his campaign workers. And yeah, it's a very, very, very interesting article. So what he is claiming is that he was actually a worker for the bishop. You guys have to excuse me. I'm in here in the room with my baby, but
It's your mommy.
yes, it's mommy. But yeah, he worked with Bishop Whitehead and helped him with a campaign. It'll probably be best for him to give his rendition, so I'm gonna allow him to come on as well when he gets a moment to come on. But I did talk to him extensively earlier, and he pretty much he has a story to tell. I could say. So he filed a lawsuit, and the lawsuit basically says, and we'll put that up in 1 second. Yes, poetic mouth. He was running for borough president, which is what his friend Mayor Adams, what his position was before he became mayor. Yes, this is another lawsuit that has been filed. It was originally going to be filed in July, so that's when he originally filed, but he was waiting on the courts to enter it in and go through the processes, and that's why it wasn't available for anybody to view. So he did go up there today and made sure that it was filed. So what the allegations was is he was one of the workers that worked for Bishop Whitehead, and he never paid his workers, and he actually was the one that paid the workers on his behalf under the guise that Bishop Whitehead was going to pay him back. So I'm gonna put up, let me see. Let's see the lawsuit. Y'all, I'm sorry, my baby's probably gonna be all over this good live. So hopefully you guys can see the allegations on the screen. I'm gonna walk away from 1 second so you guys can watch this and check my phone real quick and see if he contacted me. Okay, so he's trying to find a place that's quiet, and he's in Manhattan. So he said he has to do it on his iPhone the way this is set up. So he's trying to find a location that he can go in so he can tell his story to you guys himself. I do have a recording, but he said he wanted to tell his own story, and I said I'll give him the opportunity to do so. So, but let me go through some of these questions. Thank you. Yeah, she might be a little loud. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. We're kind of, when those campaign funds not right, the boys come asking questions. He said he did this to himself. He should have never run. When you have a big old dusty. You said Bishop Cheapskate. Thank y'all for understanding. But yeah, it was getting a little bit too hot in my house with no air. At 90 degrees, that just doesn't fit. So yeah, as you guys see, he basically was saying that he was asked, and he'll tell his story. Hopefully, you have a chance to. He was asked to help with the campaign. Didn't know Bishop Whitehead before this. He was also asked to recruit other people. When it came down to the payment, apparently he didn't have the money, and this man actually paid these people out of his pocket. So yeah, he all the promises. He said he actually went to his church. You're gonna see it. You guys are gonna be like, what in the world? Like, how could somebody even do this to someone that claims to be a bishop or to even wear a collar of any kind? So you said, I'm not. You want to come get her? Messing up my life. I'm like, girl, now she in the closet hiding. I just can't. You said he ran all the way out to New Jersey. Listen here. Hold on 1 second. Let me get her out the closet before the people come up here and get me. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm trying not to, get in trouble in this hotel room. And it's starting to get dark and I have zero light. Says she being a baby. Jesus. He ran all the way. Okay, I got those comments. Yeah, it's very, very hot. She running around like we in one of Bishop Whitehead's 8,000 square feet houses. I'm like, girl, we just in a room. We got to share this space together. So let's kind of go over the article until he comes, till he finds a spot. Give me 1 second. So we have now another former parishioner is claiming that Whitehead owes him thousands of dollars related to work done for the flashy bishop during his unsuccessful 2021 run for Brooklyn Borough President. Publicly available campaign records also show that the bishop was the recipient of a $150,000 contribution to his campaign for more than the city's $1,500 limit for contributions during the 2021 election, a brazen violations of the city's campaign finance laws, according to one good government group. Even with the way over the limit donation, 38-year-old Crown Heights resident Ives Andre told Hellgate, that's the name of the article, he wasn't paid for much of the work he did for the campaign as its voter outreach director, and that Whitehead was slow to pay the campaign workers he was supervising, forcing Andre to pay them with thousands of dollars out of his own pocket. He said, I was putting everybody on my own Cash App. Andre said, I was caught up in a situation with frustrated workers where someone had to pay them for their work. The paychecks were late, so I paid them myself. And then it says Hellgate has reviewed receipts showing the payments to campaign workers. Yes, he has receipts that he was paying this stuff out of his pocket. He has receipts for that. He also has receipts of a text message of one of the invoices that he sent the bishop. So I'm going to put that on here as well. As you guys see, there is a receipt where he sent an invoice. And so the bishop responds, good morning. What is this? And he says, that's the invoice from the last payroll for the last week of the campaign. So then he responds, the campaign is over and I don't know what you want me to do with this. You're sending me this almost 4 months later. Like, what? So he basically tells him he sent it too late, the campaign's over, and he's not paying him anything. You said, is it true that if you campaign for any office, either the DNC or RNC must overlook it? I'm not sure what you mean with by that. You said that'll do it. You ain't got to worry about her. You said I like being Brooklyn. Never saw an ad from Whitehead. I'm surprised he was running for borough president. Well, apparently this guy went through the neighborhood and actually was like recruiting people. That was his job, to kind of stay in the hood and pass out flyers and plaster them all over the building. He'll tell you the reason why he waited the way that he did for his story was because honestly, when the situation happened with Miss Anderson, he's like, oh, he's trying to scam everybody. So that's one of the reasons why he decided to come out and start talking. No, I think when the reporter asked him about this guy, Whitehead said, I don't even know him. Just like he did with Anderson. He just basically will say that he doesn't even know the person. That's how he. Hey girl, we just over here going through. We have another lawsuit filed. And my daughter's in the background all over this video. I probably should have waited, but it was such hot tea. I was like, let me go and jump on. Hopefully she won't be too loud, but apparently I was wrong. Girl, me too. I had to leave. I just threw all my food out before I left because it was stinking up the house. Well, he'll tell you kind of why he believed him because I asked him. I was like, why would you believe anything that this man says? And he gave he gave an explanation as to why he believed him. Let me know if you guys can hear it. And then after the sermon, he started explaining to me what he wanted me to do. He said he wanted me to, campaign manager when it comes to street team. Get hired. He told me hire most people I can. Put flyers and posters all over Brooklyn, projects, city streets, whole areas, whatever. Pretty much paint the whole town with his posters. So I agreed. So did he, and he explained payments. He told me he will pay $20 per person an hour. And so I agreed with that. Then he told me as campaign manager, he'll pay me 30. So I was like, okay, that's good. So after that, I just started going to hire a bunch of people. At first, I had about 50 employees. And then, they're doing our work. Now, did any of one second? Did any of these employees? Did you guys have contracts, or you guys all this stuff was just verbal agreements? Well, it was just a verbal agreement. He never really, or he did. He said he was going to do the application or something. Because I sent him all the picture IDs of the employees. Every person that I hired, I had to send him the IDs of every employee. So I have a track record of me sending all the pictures of the IDs to him. But he never presented the application. Oh, they decided everything was just everything was just sent to me the way I take care of it. So he didn't send the application to anybody or just you? He didn't send the application to nobody. He just was taking the ID. I don't know why he was taking it. I know he said he was taking it just to do the application, to put them on record that they work for him for the election. That's his word. Every time I send them IDs, I make sure they get their IDs and send it to me so I can put them on the manifest the workers. Okay. So and after that, I gave every person I hired, I picked up and I put them on, I put them on at work. And we was working for working. I started also. I kept going to his church every week. Did you ever become a member of his church? It was
it was like I became a member, but it was not official. Like, how could I say? It was like the church accepted me because I was doing the campaign and I was the best worker, so I was going there every week. So you can call that a member. I was there every week. But it's time I stood up, with my ex fiance, and we did regular prayers and stuff like that. And he did one time. He did tell the members, I'm a new, I guess a new member. He said that one time, but I never signed no papers. Well, I actually did. It made me sign some church papers. I don't remember. I don't know what that was, but I don't really know about how you become a membership member in the church because they had documents that made me sign sometimes in the church. I don't know if that was it, but I was going to church every Sunday. At this church. So after that, after doing that, I was working, and then the first week when we had to get paid, he was delaying. He kept saying he was waiting for the board election because something about it. They don't match his funds, something like that. To getting donations, he gave them donations. He just kept going with that story. So I would tell the employees they was getting frustrated because they worked a whole 40 hours for the week, no pay. You understand? So a lot of them, I kind of bumped heads with a few of them, and they quit. Understand? Because it was, it was starting to become like where people wanted to fight me. So I just paid out my pocket. I called them. I said, listen, bro. So worry, just pay out your pocket. Whoever don't want to work, just pay them. They pay and just tell them you don't need them. So I paid the ones that was, aggravated, paid them, and I explained to them if they want to work still, they allowed to start. If they don't have to work, so most of them,
You're starting to muffle up just a little bit, but let me ask you this question real quick. So when you paid them, did you pay them out of your personal funds or because I saw
no, out of my pocket.
Because I saw an invoice from a company, and I'm assuming it's your record. Is it a record label or a record company or something that you own?
Record label, yeah.
Okay, so I saw that. Go ahead.
I have an account. I got two accounts. I had my personal account and my record label. I had a one account. That was for my juice bar. You understand? So I was taking money out of my juice bar, the cash, like on my registers, and giving it to them cash. Because I was paying cash and through Cash App. So I was just, trying to pay them any way possible because I didn't have no trouble. You understand?
Yeah. So how much did you end up? How much did you end up paying out total?
Well, the first pay, it was supposed to be $5,000 for everybody. And that was for 2 weeks. It was supposed to be for $5,000. I ended up giving $2,000, and then I got the last minute. They should give me $3,000 in a check. It was a check that said, for election, whatever.
So the check came from his election, the check came from his campaign?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a campaign check, and then I took that check, I deposited it. And then after that, then I gave him $2,000 in cash, so it was $5,000. He only paid the first payroll, he only paid $2,000. Then the second payroll, he didn't give no money. He didn't give me nothing. I had to come out of my pocket. The whole payroll, I paid $3,000 in cash. No, I paid $3,000 in Cash App. Same thing, Cash App. And then I was paying also for events. So it was times when we had little events where I paid. It's a DJ, a well-known DJ named DJ Will, and he also has a catering company called Will and Daughters. I know him personally, so I hired him. We was having an event on Tall Place in Ocean. I hired him to bring, things catered. He brought food, different variety. He also was DJing that day as well. And he bring when he catered, he also DJs. So that came out of my pocket. You understand? That was between, I think, $1,000 I could fix everything. Cash, and then there was another event. They had a commercial as a local artist, not too well known, but well known. His name is Brash.
Mm-hmm.
And I hired him to be going to commercial. I had to pay him $2,500 cash.
Because I was looking at your summons, and when you did your rendition of your facts, and then you also put your damages on there. On your damage portion, you had 50,000. So, what was your actual cost? Because I know part of it you said was pain and suffering because of the issues you went through with the non-payment of the people.
It was pretty much a $5,000 check, and about altogether in cash payments. Like I said, the $2,500 for the hiring the guys for the commercial, $1,000 that I for the catering event, and pretty much like 3,000 and payroll, because I was doing payroll and I was doing it good. I was paying out my pocket for any kind of events that was, but he kept telling me he was reimbursed, but he never did.
And you have receipts for all of them as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent them all to the reporter.
Wow.
And then also, I did a music video as well, and because there was a campaign music video, I did it, and I told him, I might need you to cover some of it. He's like, no problem. You never give me money for that. I'm an artist. I do music. I'm an artist. I went to the studio. I told him he had to pay for the studio time, but I told him as for the video, I'm gonna need him to at least pay half. Because you believe in somebody, you just you look out. So
what made you believe him though? Like if you just met him going down the street.
Three things.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bishop. He's a man. He's supposed to be a man of God. And that's my first time actually dealing with a bishop. But I know pastor, but I never met a bishop. So I figured, bishop has more status than a regular pastor. So he's a bishop, and he was, he seemed honest. And then plus he went for the election, so I figured, I know he's not going to school me, and he went for the election because he can go down for phone. And plus, another thing too, I'm not going to lie, I do music, I'm an artist. He did catch me with all his glamour, like the cars, jewels, because I thought I really believe, because he got the money. Because you see somebody driving a Rolls Royce in the hood, you don't think you have money to pay you.
Right.
You understand? So that's one of the things that caught my eye, because I figured, I'm like, if he in that type of car, I used to be in the car, he's picked me up, drive around, talk about the campaign. So I took it that he got some money. I didn't think he would stiff me like this. I didn't think that was going to happen. So after that, I did all of this, and I kept asking him for after the election when he lost. After he lost, I don't know, because if he lost, you saw like he didn't have to pay nobody. But I kept asking him, like, because I had got sick because I was actually overworking me. And I had got sick, so I was like on bed rest from the doctor. I went to the doctor, which was on bed rest, so I couldn't communicate really. And then after I got better, I was working in all conditions of rain, hot weather and stuff like that. So I ended up getting sick. So besides that, I didn't reach out to him because I couldn't. I was very sick. So after I got better, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, listen, he told me to send you the invoice of what is left over to pay, to pay these people. And he was like, he said, the election is over. Like, you sending me this down. I'm like, you said the whole stuff very nicely. You understand? I need my money. And he's like, you gotta come to his church. When I come to his church to ask him for, he thought I was coming just for serving, but I came straight directly to ask for my money. I said, yo, bro, I need my money. He pushed me off. Like, somebody like, I want to talk to you. He made a hand just like pushing me away from everybody. So I'm like, are you serious? So I said, all right, I'm not coming back to the church. So I said, I'm not coming back to the church. Just send me my money. And then from there, because I was kind of aggravated because he kind of like disrespected me because somebody I went very harsh at. I feel like he totally disrespected me. So after that, I just was not communicating with him.
So let's unpack this, guys. So according to him, what happened, first of all, he met him. He's walking down the street. He's an artist. He does rapping or whatever. So he's with one of his artists. They're walking down the street and they're admiring his vehicle. So I want you guys to pay attention to this. So they're admiring his vehicle. So when Whitehead sees them admiring his vehicle, he approaches them and he talks to them. So when he talks to them or whatever, he tells them, I'm the bishop and I'm running for office. So he's asked him would he like to work for his campaign. So he tells them, yeah, and he asked them. So that's how he kind of recruited them with the flashiness or whatever. So what happened is by the time this man hired around 20 people, Whitehead said he was going to give the applications, but according to him, he never gave any applications, but he asked for a copy of everybody's ID. So he would send him their IDs or whatever. When after 2 weeks, when payroll came, he came to him and he's like, hey, now mind you, this man probably, from what I gather, got a lot of friends, family. You know, when you're recruiting people, you usually get people close to you. So of course, you're in a position where if somebody doesn't get paid, you don't want that liability on you that you're the middleman and you didn't pay somebody. So he was paying everybody, right, out of his pocket. So he'll call him and say, hey, you know, it's time for payroll. And he's like, just pay it out your pocket and I'll get back to you. So in his mind, look at the image, y'all. The image is you're driving this car. You have all of this money. You got all of these diamonds. Why wouldn't they believe that he's going to pay them back? So that's the answer to the question earlier on. Like after the first time, he really was believing that. And I'm not being funny. I was talking to someone earlier. I was like, New York has a lot of people that are almost that's known for that. Remember, you had the Fire Festival incident. You had that Ava DuVernay where she came from Germany and pretended like she was an heiress, and she came here and she did the same thing. And they kind of use other people's money to buy stuff. And then you have this image and people think that you have money. One second, guys. You said the car was bait, but that's why I'm saying just kind of like if you can picture like how all of this goes, then you'll kind of see how you get caught up. Because people are like, well, how do you get caught up? And then the different people that you are the different people that it seems like you know, and he's a rapper and he seems like he's around rap artists and you're showing all this money. Why wouldn't I think you don't have money? You said Anna. Okay. Where I get Ava from? I didn't that's the actress. I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. But yeah, I remember seeing her on American Greed because she basically did the same thing. You come with a facade and then it's like, okay, I pay for your $1 million meal today, but then I'm gonna take you to a whole nother country and tell you, oh, I left my credit card at home. That was her deal. I left my credit card at home. Can you just take this over? So that's kind of like how he was. He was like, okay, well, I left my information. She's like, I'll pay you back. I'm waiting on the election committee to match my campaign finances. And once they're matched, then I'll pay everybody. I'm going to pay you back. So why wouldn't you think somebody driving that type of a vehicle would not have the money to pay you back? You said Whitehead is connected to NYC current mayor and former borough president Eric Adams. The current mayor has several corruption investigations. A lot of people around Adams being current. Well, that's true, Denise. But sometimes, but if you notice, if you look on his page, he has a lot of times where he is in the hood with his vehicle. And he gets out and people are like, wow, man, oh my God, look at that. They get excited to see that because you don't really see that every day in the hood. That's what he said. That's not nothing you see in the hood, somebody riding around with a car like that. Hi, Deb. You said because they got good credit. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't trust no one. So if that answers your question on how, because I said the same thing. I'm like, well, why did you trust him? Now, remember, he said because he said he's a bishop. I'm thinking a man of God is going to be honest. He said, I only knew pastors. And he said, I never knew anyone with the, you know, the name of a bishop. So I'm thinking you're even higher than a pastor. So it's something like real it's something real legit about you almost because of the bishop name. Hey, Alabama. Hey, Ann, how are you? We just over here chit-chatting about this new lawsuit against Bishop Whitehead. Let me look at some of these comments. Yeah, a lot of people definitely think that. Yes, if you guys could please like the video, please, please. Hold on one second. All right, so let's see what else he has to say when he log in. Did Andre say the so-called bishop pushed him? He's asking for IDs for his free real estate classes. People are questioning it. Yeah, I saw that over there at the Gift and the Curse podcast, where she had a video and she was talking about that as well. Where I'm from, Bishop has churches and pastors under them who is under the due for him to be a bishop. That's a good question. Do you know why he is selling his home? I mean, I can speculate, but I don't know him like personally to know why he would be selling his house. We expect clergy to be a person of faith and trustworthy. Don't they take an oath when they get ordained? I think you just expect that because you're supposed to be a representative of Christ. So, I mean, luckily, because one of the questions I did ask was, it didn't like taint your faith in any way. He was like, no, I'm a spiritual person anyway. So, no, I know there is a God. So, he doesn't believe that this didn't taint his faith in any way. But yeah, I think you're right. There is an expectation that if you are a pastor, then you are going to conduct yourself in a certain way. Thank you guys for the cash apps. I appreciate it. Trying to get a little light. When I tell you this is the darkest room ever, my goodness. How ghetto can we be over here? You said put him on a pedestal because of that title. Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, I said I knew pastors, but I never met anybody that said that they're a bishop. What? You said he oversees? Oh, that was a joke. I got it. I was like, what? Does he really? Thank you so much, Annette. I appreciate it. We're a little unorthodox and ghetto today. We're usually a bit more better than this, but we had an outage in Michigan, and I'm at a hotel now. Can one, I don't know if it's any mods. Let me see if I could put my Cash App on here. I had it in the bio. Thank you guys so much. Y'all know y'all don't have to, but I definitely appreciate it. Oh my goodness. You said he's a flim flammer. Oh my goodness. Bishop Whitehead is in more trouble. Yeah, girl. He has a campaign. They're it looks like it's a lot of this stuff is campaign election law related as well. So I'm sure the campaign committee over there in Good New York will probably be looking into it as well. So thank you so much for the cash app, guys. I appreciate it. You said when you get ordained as a bishop, they make you answer about 200 questions before making you a bishop. But do they give you the answers to those questions? Are you just memorizing them? I know back in the day it used to be harder to become a bishop, but now you don't have to have lineage like Kojic, Baptist. You just can basically these non-denominational. They're just trying to get people under them. So what's the criteria? If you're going to give me all the answers and all I got to do is memorize them, shoot, I can go become bishop. Shoot. Bishop Pam Esquire. That sounds pretty good. I think I like that name. Apparently people get impressed by it. So he said he definitely doesn't fear God. No, he does not. Not at all. He does not. And he said they will shut him down. He's doing too much. Okay, Miss Renee, we'll see what happens, but it's a lot going on. If you missed the recording, you can catch the replay earlier on some of the stuff that the young man that has filed the complaint. He was having some problems. I think where he was at, he said it was too loud because he's in Manhattan. Just so he can give his own personal. But here he is. You guys have to welcome Mr. Ives Andre.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
Hey, sir. How are you?
Everybody can hear me
Can you
correct?
hear me
Good?
well? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. So,
Okay. Everybody is saying hi to you in the chat. I don't know if you can see it. I kind of gave a little rendition of your story. I am in the dark as you see because I told you the issue that I had.
okay.
But I'm doing the best that I can. So I want you to tell the people wanted to know basically what made you. First of all, let's talk about how you first met Bishop Whitehead. I want you to tell the audience how you first met him.
All right. The first time I met him was the location was on Franklin and Eastern Parkway, and pretty much I was driving my car and I was coming from the studio because I do music and I'm also have my own record label. I had couple of my artists with me, and he was in a Rolls Royce Wraith, and he was like, shining. He had a bust down watch on, and one of my artists was like, "Man, I want to be like that." I was like, "Well, that ain't really nothing. What you gotta do is work towards it, because a lot of people see things like that and get into that, the groupie feeling." So I was like, I try to tell him like, you gonna get there sooner or later. Just gotta keep working towards your goals. And so I guess the bishop was watching us. He must have saw us like pointing and stuff. So he waved us to pull down the window. So when I pulled down the windows, my artist was actually in the passenger. I was the driver. So he was saying that he's going to be the first ball president bishop. So I was like, wow. I was like, I never heard of that. So he kept saying, he said, "Do you guys know what that is?" I was like, "Well, I know the ball president, but I don't know. I'm not too fond of a bishop." So he started explaining himself, and he was like, he needs people to work the election. So me being who I am, I have experience because I used to work for Charles Barron's, the city council. He was running for mayor a little while back, a few years back. So I was like his campaign manager with the youth team. So since I had the experience, I brought it to his attention. I was like, I worked elections before, so I'll be the best guy for you. So upon doing that, he was excited. He was like, yes. He's like, God. He mentioned God. He was like, see God work in mysterious ways. So I was like, all right. So he took my number down. I exchanged numbers. He said, I want you to come to my church. So after that, he invited me that same Sunday. Went to his church, and pretty much I saw his sermon. He was in there, with the same jewels, looking like, like a hip hop bishop. So that's how I took it in my mind. So, after the sermon, he pulled me to the side. He was telling me, about the campaign, and he told me he's going to give me a campaign manager position due to the fact that I worked for Charles Barron before. And I was quite excited because, I landed another job. Because at that time, during COVID, my record company was not really bringing in as much money as we were supposed to. So I felt like that was a nice, gig. Plus, I was able to hire the same people from my neighborhood. So he told me he's going to need anywhere from 50 to 75 people because he's really want to campaign heavy. So upon doing that, I was like, all right, no problem. So he took a picture. He told me to send a picture of my ID and any other person that I hired. So after that, I just I was just hiring people from my area. I hired people from the shelters. I hired my friends. I even hired my ex-girlfriend. So after hiring all these people, I was just loading up everybody, IDs on WhatsApp because we set up a WhatsApp account and it was like a campaign WhatsApp pretty much for whoever was involved. And there was a guy named Jarvis. I think that was one of his campaign managers. I'm not too sure who he is. And it was his sister. I don't remember her name. And it was a PR. A PR. Her name was Lynn. I don't remember her last name, but she's well known in the hip hop industry. So that was his PR and including him. So, our communications would go back and forth from there. And I worked like my ass off. Like I really worked hard. I was working 12-hour shifts at times. And, every day, even when I clocked out, he would call me like on certain times because he have a lot of connections with Corey K throwing parties. So it would be times that Corey K would be having parties in Coney Island, and he would these major events. He would call me like, "I need you there," and there'll be like all type of nights, like 11, 12. So I had to, I had to explain to my girl at that point that I'm going to work. That would frustrate her a little bit, but like I said, I was the campaign manager, so I felt obligated, because I had to do this type of thing. So I started doing the work, and I had different people going to project buildings all around Brooklyn community. Pretty much, we painted the whole Brooklyn with his posters and flyers. We worked hard, do diligently, faithfully, and it came to a time where when it was time for payment, I asked him. I was like, "Hey, I gotta pay these guys now." He was like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you," because he was paying bi-weekly. He didn't want to pay weekly, so I was like, "Okay." So the day when it came for payment, I sent them all the cat. Like I said, what I did, I don't know why I did it, but something must have told me to do it. But I had downloaded the app, and you know how they have like the apps where you can let people clock in virtually, and
Yeah.
then as they clock in, it pretty much monitors their time that they work and the time they clock out. So I had everybody on this app, so it pretty much let me know how much is due to them. You understand? So once I sent them all this information, I sent them, which is like a timesheet, a virtual timesheet. I sent them everything. He started acting like, "Hey, I don't got enough money for that." First, when he seen the amount, I'm like, "Yeah, this is how much I got to pay." Because you told me to pay them 20. Because we made an agreement to pay $20 an hour for the guys that's doing the street team, and for me it was 35 an hour due to the fact that I was a manager. So once I guess he saw the bill, it was so much for the 2 weeks, and knowing who he is now, he's cheap. You understand? And he's also a fraudster. So he tried to renege. Like he was like, "Yeah, you should have did 15 an hour." I'm like, "But didn't you say 20 an hour?" He was like, "All right." So he said he's waiting for the campaign, the board of election to pay him because pretty much they was doing. This is what he told me, they was going to match every donation. So I'm not familiar with that part of like the campaigning. I just know how to go out there, hit the streets, and put the flyers out.
So one of the people in the comments wants to know, and there's a lot of people with a lot of questions. So I'm gonna stop you every now and then. I know we've talked about a lot of this stuff earlier. They want to know, was there a contract for you or any of the other individuals?
Okay, pretty much he would tell me that every picture, including my picture, he was going to put it on. He was going to have Jarvis and his other staff members make. I guess they had like a list of workers that they was going to put down and forward that to the board of election. but he never actually gave me no paperwork because I kept asking him about that because I'm like, did you get the pictures and did you put it in your doc? He said, yeah, I got everything under control. We got all the names and we put them in a separate sheet for the board of election. That's what he kept saying because he said he have to forward that to the board of election when they after you pay us, which would be like a manifest or something like that. But me personally, it was everything was verbal. So you understand. So, but to my knowledge, he kept saying that he got my ID and all the other people ID, and he's putting it on the list. I don't know if it's I don't know how it goes, but come to find out, he made that up too because the board of election contacted me the other day, and they asked me the same thing. Did I get a contract from him? I was like, no. Because he told me he was taking our picture IDs and putting it on the list to forward it to you guys. And they said that out of all, he said he out of all the people that they paid out, my name and all the other people that I hired was not there. So they came and told me that's election fraud. If I do have any proof that he gave me a check with, saying campaign and, due to the fact if I got proof that I paid, these people and I do. So,
And he did pay you with a check at one point from his
yeah, he
camp.
paid me. Well, I'm going to get to that. Back to what I was saying. When I started pressing him for the money, he just came up. He was like, yo, dude, just do me a favor. Pay out your pocket. I'm going to reimburse you. So I was like, all right. So what I had to do, I had to go into I had a juice bar. I started going I dipped into my juice bar money and my profits. Then I also, I was doing producing, selling beats for my record label. So I would just allocate that money, the beats money that I had to reimburse that. So when I did that, it was a little bit over like, let's say 5,000 and some probably 5,200. And when I after I did that, he told me he just came with this $3,000 check. I said, Bishop, this is not the amount. I already sent you proof. I sent you the invoice. He's like, oh, don't worry, I got you. I just that the way the election is going, they slow on the payment, board of election. So I'm like, him being a bishop, and I landed a board of election job. I didn't think he was really gonna be like lying one or try to defraud me two or deception. I didn't see that yet because I was just going by good faith. So after that, then I kept asking him. He's like, "Don't worry, I got you. We got well over 150. It's about 150,000 in donation. They're gonna match that." So I was like, "All right, cool." So after the next 2 weeks of working, these my workers was requesting the funds. So I called them again. I said, it's time for payment. He said, send over the invoices. I did everything I had to do. After that, this time he didn't give me a check. He just was like, oh, don't worry. We went to the election is over, whatever, the week of the election is over. I'm gonna give you the full payment. But at that point, moment it happened the first time, I lost employees then. I lost about 25 to 30 employees because I had over like 60 employees. I had lost them because a lot of them didn't want to work because they like, the pay is late and, the bishop is not paying accordingly based on how they're working, their work ethic. So I agreed too because I was like, hey, if you want to work, it's on you. So the ones that did stay, I had to pay them out of my pocket again because it caused issues. Because think about the first time it was slow payment, then the second time they see it happen again. I literally got into beef with like 3 or 4 of the workers where it almost came to blows, like fighting. It was like confrontation, stuff like that. Lucky for me, I'm a person that know how to handle, I know how to handle sticky situations. I didn't let it get far to where people had to, fight. I just, I had, like I said, I was making some kind of money, so I just like, what, I'm gonna just deplete whatever I have, and he's gonna reimburse me. So at that point, I became at zero for having money to pay for my rent for my juice bar and whatever I had on my record label. I just had like probably like 1,000 or 2,000 left for myself because I was just looking at it. I'm doing something good for the community. One, I'm doing something good for somebody that's a bishop, and he was giving empty promises like he's going to help the community. When he become a board president, he's going to do certain things for the community, and he also said he's going to help the hip hop artists. Build certain places to help artists come in it was just like looking at it now, it was just a bunch of talk, fraud, deception, the whole 9 yards. So after that, once I seen he was not complying, I just paid everybody. I was like, you know what? I I'd rather go broke right now because at the end I'm gonna be blessed because what I'm doing is bigger than myself. I'm like, you know what? Plus the issues, I didn't want no problems because I don't want people to come sue me because I hired them. You know what I'm saying? Plus I got a record label. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let me just get these people out the way and I'll deal with Bishop at the end. So I paid all these people to the point nobody's in debt to that whole thing. I gave everybody what they deserved, and after that, it was just me dealing with Bishop. That's included my pay. So I didn't pay myself. So I just paid everybody. I shorthanded myself. So it just got to the
Now,
point.
when you came to him to ask for the money,
Yeah, I went to his
what was his
church.
response?
First, I sent him the invoice. Then I went to his church. And then, I explained to him, I was like, yo, Bishop, I got to get paid because, for one, I paid off all the employees, like you said. Just the second time I did it, you did not, you reimbursed. The first time you reimbursed me like a little bit over half, and you still owe something from that. And then now you didn't give me nothing at all. And plus, I had different events. We had like a commercial for him. I had to secure an artist by the name of Brash. I paid him 2,500 out of my pocket. And this is separate from the payroll. This is events. Then there's a DJ by the name of DJ Will. He's on 105.1. He has a catering company called Will and Daughters. I paid him like $1,000 to bring in. There was an event he had on Park Place in Nostrand. I paid him money to do. He brought his catering team in, and plus he DJ'd the whole pretty much most of the event. He didn't pay me for that.
So did you hire most of the people that you hired you knew personally?
I knew not personally, but it was just mutual feelings through different people. Because like I said, I do music, so the music industry is big, and like I'm really like I'm not saying I'm a popular musician. I'm not like famous, but I am. How could I say? I'm valuable. So I know people that won't mind, doing me favor because I'm a loyal type of guy. Like you see how I did with the Bishop. People respect me for that in the industry. That I don't cross people. I'm not into the lying. I'm a very honest type of guy. So I bumped into a lot of industry people, and I guess we brushed shoulders the right way. And DJ Will, I knew him, through different little events and stuff like that. And so it was more like, like I said, people know me for what I am, loyal, and I'm honest like that. So he did the event for me, and then that was not the first event he did before, because I did another event in Brooklyn and I hired him for that too. So it was just like, he came out, he did what he had to do. I paid him for that. I have proof of that because I had to deal with his manager. I paid him. Then Brass 2 times I paid him, because I had to pay him 2,500 for the whole ordeal. Because there was also one time I did in Borough I did a speech, which Brash was supposed to come there and make a speech too, but he was running late. So I took I took it upon myself because I'm good at making speeches. So I made a speech in broad daylight in front of many people for him, which I regret doing. And after that, like I said, fast forward from all these things, I told him I need my money because right now I can't pay my rent for my store. I can't go to the studio. I can't shoot no more videos because the last video I shot was for him. You know, it was a campaign song that I made for him. That he pretty much, when I let him hear it, he was like, yeah, we should shoot the video. Don't worry, I'm gonna be the ball president. You gonna get reimbursed. So now I'm definitely in the hole, like in the hole. So what happened was when I went to his church, I sent him the invoice. He told me to come to his church. That was one of his favorite things, come to the church. So I came to the church, and when I tried to approach him, he literally like, you know how you playing football and somebody's trying to tackle you and they put their hand out. I don't know the name of that move, but that's how he did me in the church. He tried to push me to the side. So I'm looking at him like I had this weird feeling inside, like I know he didn't just trying to brush me off in front of everybody, knowing that like I'm this top man with the election that was running election. But I really think that due to the fact he lost, he had a lot of bad blood feeling. Like he was angry, frustrated. He just felt like it was everybody's fault. But that had nothing to do with me, buddy. You know, like I said, God don't like ugly. Maybe that's what it was. That's why he did. Looking back now, I think that's why he didn't win the election, because his conscience, his heart, everything was evil from the start. So he had no plans to pay me or his board, his people that helped him. So how are you going to win the election to be board president? Think about it. I don't think the God that he believe in, or any God that anybody's going to let him get to that part. That part. So, however it is, he brushed me off in the church, and I felt some way. So I told him, I'm not ever coming back to this church. And I said, and I felt disrespected. I even texted him about that, and he tried to act like oh something like he tried to say, oh, I didn't disrespect you. He's like, what you expect me to do? You don't come to church. And I'm like, I'm not coming to church. I'm not. Listen, I want my money. And he was like, don't worry, Jesus gonna give you the money. And I'm like,
What?
he said Jesus gonna give you the money. So at that point, I was just like so not pissed off, but like embarrassed that I worked so hard for him. You understand? That I now I'm in I'm in regret now, like total regret, like man. So I'm feeling totally played. So I just fell back. I just fell back because I was just like, you know what? I prayed on it. Was praying and praying, and then when I seen the article that he got robbed, I wasn't happy that he got robbed, but I did say God don't like ugly. You understand? So I just left it at that. And then when I seen that he did a situation with the older lady, the 58-year-old lady, then I was like, nah, I gotta file my lawsuit. You understand? I have a friend too that called me. He's like one of my advisors, and I got a mentor too. They called me. They was like, "Yo, bro, listen, he's doing it to a lot of people. He's doing it to old people. He did it to you. So this guy ain't gonna stop doing what he's doing. We need to teach him a lesson." So me being me, like I said, I'm a community guy, and I just felt messed up inside. Like, man, he's doing it to both sides, young and old. So I was like, you know what? It's time for me to to go after Goliath, because at that point I felt like I need to be David. And that's a sermon that he kept preaching all the time, every Sunday or anytime he had church. He always talked about David and Goliath. So I borrowed his pitch. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make him Goliath and I'm going to be David. So I'm going to go after him. So that's when I filed the lawsuit, and we here now.
So I saw, but someone told me about the lawsuit maybe a month ago in July. So could you explain like why you just now kind of telling your story with the article that came out with the reporter? How did all that come about? Because that's how I found you
All right,
was
pretty much the article, they reached out to me first. The city papers reached out to me at first. They did an interview, took pictures, but I guess the lawyers and stuff and the people in the upper offices, the back office, I don't know what they call them, but they told him that they didn't want to do the story because they already had did a story of him, and they didn't want to look like they bullying him, you know. So they forwarded me to um, the Hellgate, because they said that it's better because Hellgate never did a story on him. So they sent me a guy by the name of Max, and Max called me, and he was excited. He was like, he definitely gonna put the story out. So pretty much everything that happened was they reached out to me, like the bishop tried to tell Hellgate, I'm looking for clout. Listen, I care too less about clout. I do music. If I was looking for clout before, I would have been trying to do it with my music. Understand?
and the bishop also said he didn't know you in that article, didn't
Okay,
he?
so just getting back to that, there's no way he can evade not knowing me, because like it's like when a criminal get caught, the first thing they're gonna do is lie, right? You understand? I didn't do it. You understand? So pretty much, there's no way he can go like, there's no way he can say he don't know me, because like I'll send you the video that I made for him. Like, this guy's in the video, literally bopping his head, dancing to the beat.
Oh
You
wow.
understand? He pulls up in his Wraith, like, got the Wraith in front of it, like using the Wraith as, like, come on, man. Like, but like, all I can do is just laugh, because all he doing is burying himself. By him saying that, it's just more proof that he's who he is. He's a fraudster. He's a scammer. He's a master manipulator. He decepts everybody. Even even when you ask him right then and there, he's going to decept. He's going to bring deception towards you. He's not even going to think about it. So there's no way around it. Like, I got text messages. How did I get his number? How did I get his cash app? How did I get his pictures with him? How did I even get where I got? Like, I got pictures with celebrities that I was in parties. I've been in places meeting the weirdest people. Like, how did I even know Corey K? I used to just see Corey K on my Instagram. Now I literally know him. Like, anywhere I see Corey K, he gives me a handshake. So all this is because I was dealing with the bishop. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way he can evade and say he don't know me. I just think that he's just crazy. For him to say that, I really think he's starting to believe in his lies. He's cuckoo. You know
Now,
what I'm
has
saying?
he ever tried to reach out to you since the church
No,
incident?
no, he hasn't reached out to me. But the other day, when after we did the report, and like 3 minutes after I gave Max the handshake, he took pictures of me for the article. The bishop pulls up. Like we did it on Eastern Parkway between Utica, no, sorry, Eastern Parkway between Troy and Schenectady. As soon as the article, like we at the final stage of it done, he pulls up in a gray Rolls Royce Wraith, but he didn't pull up for me. Just happened, like, things happen for a reason. He pulls up, drive, stops at the light, and I see him. I look him dead in the face. And the first thing, before he could just like try to, I guess, negotiate or talk to me, he looks and put his head down and put his hand on his face like this, like he didn't want me to see him. But I already,
So what if he did talk to you? Let's just go back. What if he did talk to you and say, "Man, I'm gonna pay you. I know that I played you." Are you at a point where he can just pay you what you paid out to the people?
no, it's too late to give me that because I like the stress, like like I didn't just lose my juice, but I lost a relationship behind this because when I was going them nights, late night, coming back 3, 4 in the morning, you got to remember women is gonna be women. Ask me questions like where you was at, and then mind you, I'm in clubs where there's a whole lot of other women in there. So it like I said, like I told you over the phone, dealing with the bishop ruined my whole life. Like when it comes to, I was in an 11-year relationship. That didn't go well because we was running a business together, the juice bar. You understand? She was like my partner to run it. I went and go open the store. I had to run around with her to do the bishop, and she was getting aggravated. She even came up with this word, "You going bishop crazy." And honestly, looking back now, I was bishop crazy because it's like I was so crazy enough. I was so crazy enough to spend my money and go do all these crazy routes,
So
hire
what
people.
was it? I know you said that because of the title of bishop, but like, did he come across just persuasive? Is it nonchalant? Like, we want to know
Right,
what makes you just say, "All right, well, I'll pay it. I think he's gonna pay me back." Like, what really would give
right.
you
What
that
what
impression?
really motivated me to think that he was gonna pay it is more like I said, he was a whole bishop. Like I never been around a bishop, so all I know is bishop, then it's higher ranks, and then it's the pope. So I figured, he gonna be a man of his word.
Did you say the Pope?
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm just think like when it goes down to that, it goes down to that because like it's like different ranks. So I'm like I know he's close to the Pope somewhere. So I'm like I don't think he's gonna lie like on God's name. You understand? So I figured that was one, and then two, he's running for borough president, the election. I figured he ain't going to defraud nobody while he's working for the election. Trying to run to be a political guy. And three, like I said, like I told you on the phone, like he looked like he had money. Like he had a big cross chain with diamonds and another chain. He had a petite Patek watch on, and like he's driving a Royce. So I'm like, all right, this guy gotta have money. He could pay me. Like, what is 7 or 10,000 to him? In my head, because like when you see money, when you see the money right there, you could like, all right, you could like, all right, he can pay it. So that's the only reason that I really like felt like he could pay those three reasons. But anything else didn't really shake me to think about it. But those are the three facts.
Oh, did you know that, like, I don't know if you saw any of my other videos. If you didn't, go check them out. And if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to my YouTube
I
channel.
will.
But little plug there. But did you know like his past history of
No,
kind of
I didn't know till
doing
after like the report came because I was not thinking about his past because I didn't think he had a past. He's a bishop. How did he get there? That's like you know what I'm saying. I was just thinking he was just like this. Not saying angelic type of person, but a black dude from the neighborhood, out of the hood that went from whatever he had to do to become a bishop. I didn't think that till after somebody was telling me, "Oh, this dude went to jail for scamming." I'm like, really? I'm like, hold on, let me Google that. So I started
but
Googling it.
how did you know like Did he tell you how he made his money? Did he ever tell you that?
No, he just told me, he didn't tell me much because like we never had these conversations. I was too busy Bishop crazy, like going over like the campaign. I wouldn't like my whole objective was to work for the campaign and finish that job and take the money that I made from that and put it buy fruits and stuff from my juice bar and go to the studio. I was not thinking about nobody's life. You know what I'm saying? That was not what I was there for. Like
No,
which
but I'm saying if somebody, did you think being a bishop pays that? Like, how do you have a,
well
you
when
know,
the
this kind
race
of
and
car
the
and
race when I seen them the race and all that, I didn't think that. I just thought that I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't like I don't mind people business. Like I'm not the type of person to be like all the people business pocket watching and worrying about what the other person has. So I didn't really think like I said, I don't like I'm one of them guys that I don't like I can see an artist right now, like a few artists to let you know, like I see artists all the time and they, look how they look, but it never moves me. I treat them like they're regular people. You understand? So it's like I don't treat people like like I'm not a groupie pretty much. So I didn't really think about it because people get money. It's the time and days people can get money. People can acquire whatever they want. So I didn't really question him. I just knew that he had a wraith, and I know he had jury. His wife, when I went to the church, his wife had jury, and then I started to think that maybe he getting it from the church because when we first got there, the first time I went there, I had brought a few of the workers and my ex fiance, and he was starting off with $5,000 donation. So I was like, shit, this is probably how you get the money. He said he would go and he start bidding. It's like a bidding war. Like he'd go from 5,000 and he'd go to 20. When nobody say 5,000, he'd go to 2,500. And then when nobody goes to 25 to bring in 2,500, he'd go down to like 1,000. When nobody goes down to 1,000, he goes down to 500.
are you talking about at church? That's
At
what he
church, yeah, this is how the collection plate and he called it the seed. So it's seed sowing. So and if you're gonna go to 500, nobody has 500, you go down to 100. Nobody got 100, you just like whatever your guys that bring. But the thing I didn't like though is when the people didn't respond to the high amounts, did go give whatever they had. He will judge and criticize them. Like when they pass by like him by the going to the offering to put the money in the offering, he be like, hey, what's that? You got some this on, you got this Gucci outfit or some, whatever you had that look expensive. He be like, why you spending your money on that and not giving the money to the church? But
what?
yeah, he would put people on the spot, like literally, like. But but then I would look at him. I'm like, shit, you looking flyer than everybody here. Why you not telling yourself that? But I never brought it. It's not in my place to tell him that. But in my head, I would always say to like he must be crazy because he got like way more expensive stuff than these people have. But he would say that, and I think he was doing that to penetrate people hard to get people to come back next week and give their life savings. I guess, but.
Now, were you one of the people giving a lot to the church as well?
Well, I gave some money. Like I ain't gonna lie, I convinced like my ex fiance. Well, I ain't convinced. He was convincing us because, like I said, looking back now, his game is tight. Like
Man, let me give you my cash app because you look like
nah. I didn't give him like nothing but $150. I ain't giving no 5,000. Yeah, right. I gave the campaign, yeah, because I knew I was gonna be reimbursed. But the most I gave that church was $150, probably a couple of times, and like it was other people that was there. Like I told you, like my ex fiance, because he told me to invite the workers and people, so they gave like $100, but it never was consistent. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, once he started not giving us the money, we was like, we ain't giving enough if we can't get paid. Think about it. So, but like I
so.
said,
Like, did
but
he
his
ever
game is
have
tight.
like?
You gotta
Did he
understand
ever?
his game is tight. He has a tight game. Like he's a
Like, what do
real.
you mean? Like, what does he say? Give us an
He's
example.
like he make you feel bad and start talking about if you got on nice clothes, and he'll be like, oh, he's a hustler, man. He's just like he knows how to hustle. He's good with words. He'll tell you, he'll be like, yo, don't worry, I'm gonna be the like his favorite. I'm gonna be the next board president bishop, or I'm the bishop. Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of the community. Whatever you give me, I'm gonna bring it to the community. I'm gonna help, the hip hop community. Like, listen, if I had to record, I should have recorded him, but it's just that his game was so tight. You got to remember, he's in the church. He got the game from the church. He was from the street. He got that game. And I guess, like I said, knowing that he went to jail, I think the 5 years, like I told you earlier, some people go to jail and they change their life. Me reading the history of him and knowing what I've been through being a victim, I think he sat there in jail for 5 years to figure out to be a smarter criminal. And I think he picked a church. He was like, I'm gonna get a church, and he was already a hustler, a drug dealer in the street. You understand? From my knowledge, so I figured that he's like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be able to swindle people with the same game I had for the street, and I'm gonna take the money and donate it to church, and there's nothing they could do. It's a donation.
Well, he said he doesn't get a salary from the church. So
Well, well, they gonna have to. I guess the archdiocese people have to investigate because I don't know what's going on. He kept saying he's building a new church. I didn't see the new church at all. So I don't know if he's taking the money, he's funneling because he said he had quote unquote doing real estate with his wife. I don't know. Like like I said, I'm not an investigator to be invested to know exactly what his finances, but I think if they start digging, there's going to be a lot of holes in that.
so I have a question. Just one, I don't want to take up all your time, but I do want to ask some of the questions because you have a couple of hundred people in the chat that are they say you're honorable. They're saying a lot of very nice things about you. Just so you know, I don't know if you can see the chat, but one of the questions was ask him what does he think about the alleged robbery and has he heard any word on the street.
Well, like me being me who I am, like I told you on the phone, I've been sitting here calculating, looking at it, reading his history. Because I'm like, I'm not a private investigator, but I have an investigative mind, right? So I've been doing my research, just reading all the articles about him, from him being arrested, and just asking around about people who knew him. And he used to be like this hustler guy in the street, quite a little I don't know how dangerous, but he once said in church that he was people used to if he go left, all the street guys will follow him. If he go right, they'll follow him. If you go forward, they'll follow him. If you go back, I don't know what that meant. If he was just this the man in the streets, like you know how the streets be. And doing the research, honestly, I think this is a botch robbery because they ain't find nobody. Like people get robbed in the hood all the time. They get caught like in 2 3 weeks. You understand? Like, and to go to a church and rob a whole bishop, not the congregation, just him and the people that had the jury on is, and then knowing who he is, like he's a frauder, like he's a scammer, like he does anything. He'll scam anybody out of money and scam anybody to work for free so he can gain money. So looking at it, it might be fraud, like just to get, like I said, $1 million. First it was 400,000, now it's $1 million. I don't know, so I have no idea. Like I said, I'm not the cops investigating, but with the way I think, leaning towards everything and the way I'm not saying because he victimized me. It's just not adding up. You know what I'm saying?
Now, did he make you guys call him the bishop? Because it just seems like everybody's like the bishop, the bishop, the bishop.
No, but that's yeah. He was letting people, telling people that when you drilled with something, bishop, I'm the bishop, bishop, bishop. That's what we call him. Everybody called him that.
Wow. So
And
let's
and
switch.
looking at it now, like it's a funny joke. He ain't like he not like the bishop for the church. Remember the movie with the bishop, the guy named the bishop in that movie? I think it was Tupac played in that movie or something like that. He's like that. Like, he's like one of them thug type of guys to me now. Because I'm looking at him like he's a career, like he's a criminal. Honestly, like, he criminalized me out of my work. Like like I worked very hard. Like I really worked hard. Like I worked so hard that I literally got sick after the whole election. Like I was like in bed, like I couldn't just like my body was hurting because I was working in the rain, hot days. I didn't get no rest. Like it was days I worked 18 hours because remember I worked in the day, then I had to work in the club scene, the party scene. It was just a mess, and like I said, I regret everything.
Okay,
Honestly,
so you filed a lawsuit and you have filed it originally on your own, but that was just to get it started because
yes.
and then as far as an attorney, why did you decide to just go ahead and file it on your own as opposed to just waiting to when you got
Because the reason I did, like I have experience with some legal matters and stuff like that, so I'm very fond of filing the RJI, filing motions, and get the fees to pay for the court. So I did this before. on other cases where people victimize me, not in this sort, but other sort, a breach of contract. So I was, and then another thing too, I wanted people to see that a common man, a common person could go into the court arena and do it by themselves without, actually looking for an attorney at first. Because, a lot of people be intimidated when you're dealing with like suing big people. So I just was like, you know what? Let me just do this, and these people will be inspired by me. Like, hey, because there's other people out there that probably got victimized by other people, and they want to go sue, but they didn't find a good lawyer that would take the case, so that can inspire them to just go file, pro se, go file their own case. So I did it, and then another reason is like I said, when I seen that old lady got victimized, I was just torn up. I was like, God, he would do it to anybody. So before he keep doing it, I need to teach him a lesson. So let me go do it and show him that I'm well equipped. Because like I said, it's me against him, and my word is my bond, and I have my proof is well over 1,000%, and it's not frivolous. So I'm pretty much sure the judge, once they see it, they're gonna just they're gonna go move forward with it.
And you had someone asked about you being victimized before, and I know you said that you told me about that earlier, so you don't have to really get into it, but that had something to do with some situations that occurred during with your ex-fiance, correct? Like a business type of a deal.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much through this whole like I said, Bishop opened up a can of worms to make my life miserable. Where it was a point where something happened between when I was not being around, opened the store. I guess my ex fiance, she was pissed off, and I guess she wanted revenge because like I was not home all the time for one, and then I was not opening the store. She wanted revenge because I funded the whole juice by myself. But people, when you put somebody in a position to, people is inspired, thinking they're gonna have something. She went behind my back and sold the juice bar without my authority. So I had to go to court for that, and I won that case without a
Yeah,
lawyer.
I know that you won the case by when you
I
filed
found
that.
I found a I found a case in Queens Supreme Court, and I won the case within a week. So I figured I'm like, shit, if I did that, and a lot, even the lawyer that I won the case was like, man, I don't know where you get your knowledge from, but you had the judge in your corner, and I never been beat like this in a week. Usually these cases take like 30 to 60 days to even go from to that point. So I just felt like the God that I believe in was working in my behalf. So I prayed to the same God and was like, this is, now I was like, you know what? If I could do that case, I was like, I could go after the bishop. So I just was like, yeah, I'm just looking at myself like everybody that wronged me legally, I need to go make a move on it because I already, God showed me that He had me for that. So what's the next step? The next person on my list is the bishop because he defrauded me bigger than what that situation. That was a light, to me, that was a light situation. You know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. Things happen in relationships. And like I said, I'm not even with that person no more. So I'm not even looking back at that. That's like the past. But the bishop is the current thing. So, like I said, I had experience from that. And years ago, I had experience from another lawsuit that I had won a judgment in the same building with some international bankers. I'll touch base on that later on. But because I want
Yeah,
to stay,
you don't have
I
to.
want to stay
I don't want
focused.
people to just think you going around giving your money away because that's what it
No, no,
sounds
no, no,
like
no.
you saying. You get
I didn't give my money away on the last two, but this is I like I don't even think I gave my money away. I just gave like you gotta understand when somebody comes to you and talks to you about certain things that they doing big, which sounded bigger than him. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at it, look at the big picture. You understand? So I looked at it even in the, like when it was going on. I didn't when I was giving them put my money into these guys' hand. I was looking at it like I'm doing these people a favor because these people don't have no jobs. These people's from the shelter. Some was people that I knew that didn't have jobs. They could have been doing anything worse. So I probably helped them from doing something worse. Like I said, I'm a community guy. Like my music speaks for itself. I like I believe in helping the community. I don't believe in just getting money and just going off hiding. You know what I'm saying? You got to give back. So even now, like, I regret dealing with the bishop, but I don't mind helping people. You understand? So like especially black people that looks just like me. So it's not giving away money. It's more extending a helping hand, like God does. You know, so it's like I just I just feel like if we all be on one accord, things would be better for us, like black and brown community. Like that's the thing that we lack. We don't want to help each other. So, but don't get me wrong. Some people do take advantage of you, like the bishop did, but it's not everybody. I don't think every church person or every bishop that's black or Hispanic is like him. I just think that like there is a group of people that's bad. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you read the Bible, I'm not biblical or whatever, like the storyline of Jesus, like, Jesus had to go to the church and flip certain tables because there was people that was in the church that was, using God's name and they was doing evil stuff. So it's the same thing here. I'm just flipping the table on Bishop. You know what I'm saying? I'm just showing him like King David did to Goliath. Like, and you can't use God's name in vain. He used Jesus' name in vain, God's name in vain, and then he was in the church doing that. So I guess, like I said, God don't like ugly. So that's all I could say. I don't got a problem. Like I didn't give away my money. I don't. I gave him a helping hand. He screwed me. So now I'm making it right by suing him. And like I guess we here right now on this live, and people need to know that to start before you go to church, you need to start researching the pastors. Because it might be a group full of them, a handful of them, or it just might be a selected few. But like I said,
Now there
I
was
just
a
got to
text.
make sure an example.
There was a text message that was that I had that I showed the audience earlier before you got on. We were waiting for you to get situated, and it showed you sending an invoice, and then the bishop pretty much, or well, Whitehead. They said quit. They told me quit calling him bishop. So Whitehead, they said he sent, in that text message, it had him saying, "Why did you send this to me 4 months later?" Was that the first time you sent it, or were you just like
No,
reminding him?
no. I was talking to him over the phone about that. I went. That's remember I went to the church and everything. So I gave him time to think about what he did to me in the church, and then I sent it to him again. You understand? I said. Then I was like, "What is this?" You know how he responded. What is this? I was like, this is the invoice that you said to send to you, because I had gave it to him personally, and then I had sent it to him the first time, and then I'm just more like giving him proper notice because you have to have good faith. So I sent it to him again because I figured maybe in due time he'll see he did something wrong to me in the church, and in due time he'll see that he did owe me, so maybe he'll pay me 4 months later, and he see how he responded, like he had an attitude. So and then from there, that's when I just was like, you know what? Forget this guy. He ain't never gonna pay me. I'm gonna just have to sit this one out. Take it as a loss.
And that was your last communication
That
with
was my
White.
last communication. Yes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions before we let you go? We so appreciate your time for coming on the platform. If you really want to find real analysis on him, I actually went over some of his court documents in a lot of my past videos. I know we talked about that before. His illegal. Did he ever tell you he was illegally incarcerated? I'm just curious.
Well, I read about that. That he beat. I don't know if he beat the case, but he gave the time back. I don't know, but like I said, I'm not a private investigator digging into his life. But what he did to me, I don't think that was illegal. What he did to me it sounded like the same thing he was doing back then, scamming. You know what I'm saying? So
So we know there's some
hopefully,
issues. A lot. The thing that makes this makes it different than the Anderson cases. You're talking about election stuff. So that's what makes it a bit more complicated. We're not going to get into that, but that's a whole nother issue that he'll probably have to deal with.
yeah, they told me he's being audited right now at the
Yeah,
moment. So, but they told me to
we're not
forward.
going to give too much information on
Yeah,
that. Let's just let them do what they do. Let him go ahead. He likes the element of surprise, so just let him go ahead and be surprised.
yeah, that's whatever he's dealing. That's on him. But like I said, he did defraud me. He scammed me. He deceived me. He the whole 9 yards. Honestly,
So someone had a question about, have you ever talked to his wife and found out anything about her?
she would always be right there. Like she was always next to him. She seen when I came to church. She see when I came to church and he brushed me off. She didn't tell him nothing. Like she knew, like she knew I worked hard. She witnessed everything because she was always there with him.
What is your? Do you have a cash app? I have some people in the chat. They want to send you some
Right.
blessing.
Hold on a minute.
I can't
Oh,
pin it. So can one of the mods please put it in
oh,
the cash
I could
app?
text. I could text it. I could text it.
If you text it to me, my daughter got my phone, so I'm not gonna get
All
it.
right, hold on.
I
Hold on.
could put it if you say it out loud. I had the mods just put it in the chat. I thank you guys. That is so kind of because he's definitely going to need some assistance because this is way deeper looking at the documents and stuff. And for him to go forward himself is very admirable. He's trying to definitely prove a point and make some noise. Woo. Thank you so much, Jane. She always supporting.
I sent it to you.
Okay, what is it? Say it out loud. I gotta put it in the chat. Can you tell me? We're not gonna take your you don't want to put it out there like that, or
I can't hear you.
you can't hear me?
Can you? I don't know what happened to the mic.
Can you guys hear me in the chat? You just
Can you hear me?
yourself. I can hear you.
I can't. I can't hear you.
Can you they said they can hear me. So why don't you go out maybe and come back in?
I can't hear you. Hold on. Let me see something.
You're on mute.
You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Yeah, but I can't hear you.
Okay. All right. I'll
I
look and
think
I'll put
it's
my
because I went
cash.
in the chat. Yeah, the chat. So some way somehow muted you, so I can't hear you. Unless you want me to log out and log back in.
So there you guys have it. We'll see if he comes back on. We'll just do a few more minutes before we get off. What do you guys think? Great interview, great information. We're gonna put his, I'll try to get his Instagram. Pass me that phone, Daniel. Please. I got like 3 phones. Let me see. I still don't have his. He said he texted me, but it's not in the cash app. He must have tried to put it in the chat. Yeah, this that. Thank you, Deb. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me until he was able to come on. You said you're glad you took a nap. All right. He just mentioned the wife. You know, I was windmilling for her, like, oh no, maybe she just, oh man. Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So there is, I showed you guys the let me see. I showed you guys the article. It's a lot of information in the article if you guys want to read the article for yourself. Um Talk for me. See if I can hear you. Can you hear me? He just kicked himself back off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He's struggling. So let me see. Here's his Cash App. So that's his Cash App. If anybody wants to bless this young man who is going to have a fight ahead of him,
Hey Pam, can you hear me?
in this lawsuit, that is his Cash App right
Pam,
there.
can you
Can
hear
you
me?
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Pam. Can you hear me?
Maybe not.
I can hear you. Hello? You there?
Yes. You hear me now?
Yes, I can. I text you the Cash App
Okay.
because the chat, I don't know if it was.
Yep, I put it. Yep, I put it in the chat. So hopefully
Thank you very much.
somebody in it.
I
Thank you
really
so much
appreciate
for
everybody.
coming on. Oh, absolutely. We'll be in touch, of course. But yeah, that's thank you so much for coming on, especially this late.
Yeah, well, like I said, he said I'm looking for clout, but I'm just doing it because I want my money and I want people to be aware of what he's been doing, and so they can be aware if, like, different states, different areas have, like, people in the church that's probably not saying exactly like him, but at least they'll know what to look for.
And we appreciate that. You have any final words, or is that your final words?
Well, the final thing I can say is I'm David, and the bishop, or let's just say Whitehead, is Goliath, and I'm going to
Yeah,
do
I need you to practice just Whitehead because that's not
White.
really happening.
Okay, excuse me, Whitehead. Let's take the bishop out of but Whitehead. So pretty much Whitehead is I'm David, and Whitehead is Goliath. So we all
People
know the
want to
story.
know your Instagram too.
All right, say less, do more. Records, LLC.
Say less, do more records, LLC. You guys get that? Say less, do more records, LLC. Y'all go follow them and go follow me at Pam ESQ if you guys haven't followed me already. And if you guys have not subscribed to this platform, I need you guys to
Yeah, I'm
subscribe.
definitely going to subscribe to you. Right. Got you.
All right, we'll be in touch, and thank you so much again for coming on. We'll holler at you later.
Pam, I really appreciate you, and may everything be blessed with you and your family and your show, right?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. There we have it, guys. We got the interview from one of the plaintiffs on one of these cases. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm in the dark. I know this is ghetto, y'all. I apologize. All the new people, I have people that say it's their first time and they really enjoyed it. We're having issues here in Michigan where our power is out. So I'm at a hotel and it's just black everywhere. But I did want to do this interview because he wanted to do that. He filed it before and he was waiting on the court. And like, hey, you might want to follow up on that. It never was filed the way it was supposed to be. So he filed it the way it was supposed to be. He'll probably amend it if once he's able to, get someone, because I just recommended, like you guys did, you might want to get an attorney on this one, just because some of the claims that I thought in my head were beyond and bigger than what he thinks. So once at first he said, well, I think I could just do it. Then I guess after we had a conversation, I'm like, dude, did you think about this, and this? And then he was like, yeah, maybe I need an attorney. So thank you guys. Oh, y'all so sweet. And I love you guys back. He said, come on with the club. Thank you guys, and thank you to all the mods and all of that. And you guys, please like, please share, please subscribe. Yes, and we'll be following this case. We have firsthand information, so we're gonna know every step of the way, and you guys are gonna hear it first. So, you guys have anything else you want to talk about real quick? I'm not doing nothing. I'm just sitting here in the dark. Yes, it's dark, girl. It's crazy. Made you want a Nutri-Grain bar. He said, "I'm going to see if I can get Trump up here for you to enter." you think Trump would? Nah, he wouldn't. Definitely legal counsel. Great job. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody, yes, have a great night. I know that a gift and a curse, she had her podcast going on during the time, but I did want to get them on. But thank you for coming over here, sis, and coming to watch me. I appreciate it. Yeah, he said he was in Manhattan and it was just real loud, but he said he wanted to come on. Please, guys, subscribe and like. He said, how many plaintiffs make a class action? Is this possible? It depends on if they have the same claims. There have to be all interested parties in the same claim. This claim is different because it has something to do with the campaign. So you got contracts, you got the election laws that they have there. You have so many different things. With hers, it was you were supposed to help me get a home. So that's more of just a contractual type of a deal, and probably consumer protection and other issues. But yeah, anybody in New York and know any other attorneys? Um, what is this? Oh, I've talked to a couple of. I have a couple of friends because I have one attorney I'm on a case with here, and he's looking into some things as well. But we gonna get them straight between this platform and everything. We'll get them straight and make sure everything's good. Yeah, been out since yesterday, and it sucks. Press is gonna eat Whitehead for lunch. They already starting to that. You guys have got to read that article. You have to. You have to read. But all right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. All the cash apps are on there. And I will holler. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys for supporting and putting up with my daughter that's so loud in the background. And I will holler at you guys later.